Hello, everybody. I'm Toby Shifsky. I am the Vice President of Real Estate Education at Kaplan. And today we are here for Real Experts. And today we have a very special guest. Our topic is a shifting mindset, sales to service. Seems simple, but what we're going to find out, it's going to be key to really a long career in real estate. Our expert is none other than Jenny Van Ornum. Jenny, hello to you.
Hello.
Thank you for being here, Jenny.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's do this. I'm gonna bring in Jenny full screen for you all. And all right, here we go. Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
Hi. And for everybody else, let me just go ahead and introduce Jenny appropriately. So I know Jenny. Jenny's been with Kaplan for quite a while, and Jenny's been in real estate quite a while. So Jenny's extensive and rewarding career in real estate spans over 25 years. As her life's work and passion, she educates, mentors, and informs both real estate professionals and their clients. As the lead instructor for Kaplan Real Estate School in Colorado, you should know that each of our states has a lead instructor. Jenny is and has been for quite a while the lead instructor for Colorado, tending to licensing students of all ages and all capabilities. And Jenny also mentors the new brokers and assists top producers with innovative ways to take their business to the next level. Jenny, hello, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, this is kind of this very interesting topic that we have because there's a little bit of a shift in the marketplace. I think Jenny's going to kind of help give us some golden nuggets to what to expect in the real estate market today and how to really be successful in her eyes. And so let's do this. Jenny, we have a lot of people that come on these webinars, and I think it would help us to understand who's really here, like how long they've been in the business, if they've been in business for 10 years, 12 years, 7 years, 5 years. So everybody, I want to go ahead and have you play along. It's a chance for you to answer a poll. All of our poll questions are always anonymous, so nobody sees your name in the poll question. I'm going to put up a poll question for you, and please take a second to answer, and then we'll make sure we gear the conversation towards you today. All right, so here comes the first poll question. The poll question is, how long have you been in the real estate business? Go ahead and check which answer applies to you. More than 12 years? Hey, thank you for being here. All right, we've already got people more than 12 years. I love it. 4 to 12 years. So we got a bunch of people coming in, 4 to 12 years. Hey, we'll share the results here. You will all see how many people we have on in what category. Less than 4 years, or you know what? I'm sitting in a licensing course right now at Kaplan, or you know what? I'm thinking about real estate. Heck, I'm not even licensed yet, but you know what? Today I'm going to learn something and maybe I make a career choice. So if you're on your phone, you may have to slide your screen over to answer the poll question. All right, I'm going to go ahead and answer this poll question, and I think the answers are close to what I thought was going to happen. All right, so here we go. I'm going to end it and share the results. How about that, everybody? So we have people on here, lots of people with more than 12 years. Jenny, you're going to have to be on your A game, or actually, how about this? For those of you who've been on more than 12 years, love for you to play along. We keep the chat open and live to everybody. So, and you do see your name in the chat. So there's not anonymous in the chat, only in the poll. So take a moment, if you would, if you have more than 12 years of experience and you want to play along, feel free to chat. 4 to 12 years. How about you people? You've been in the business since the last big downturn in real estate, you know, the financial crisis, the mortgage, you know, meltdown. And then how about this? Less than 4 years. We've got 19% of the people have been in for less than 4 years. So you started basically right around the pandemic. And so good for you. And then overwhelmingly, 45% of the people are taking their licensing courses at Kaplan. Another 18% are not even licensed yet. So thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to need to jump in really pretty quickly in order to get through this. So Jenny, you know, success comes in all different packages, you know, and in real estate it does too. I think for us, we're going to have about another, 25 minutes to really talk about how to be successful. And I think you've kind of touched on something here, which is a change from what most people think when they come in for licensing in real estate. A lot of people, think the job of a real estate professional is to be a master negotiator, and I think that's the biggest part of the job. But I think today we're going to talk about something a little different. So, in fact, let me ask you, what do you see, Jenny, as your real job as a real estate licensee?
I think our real job is to be a relationship builder. My job is to build relationships. My second job, not as, as equally as important, is to find those buyers and sellers to build the relationships with, and then give them the highest level of service that I possibly can.
Yeah. So once again, negotiating is a part of the job, but you have a unique perspective. And your perspective is this is about relationship building. And now we're talking primarily, I think, about residential real estate right
Correct.
now. Right. And I know that most of the people on here are probably residential real estate, but I can tell you this: in commercial real estate, there's still ultimately a relationship also.
Absolutely.
Yeah, with a decision maker, with an organization, right? And it might be a little bit different than residential, but in residential, you're saying it's about relationship building.
It is, and negotiation is important. However, if you negotiate coming from a place of service, what's going to be best for my clients, my buyers and sellers, or you could look at it as commercial as well. Everybody wants to feel like they're winning. If I am in a combative situation, well, nobody's winning. And that's not service, that's sales, because I'm thinking about myself. If I shift my mindset to what is best for my client, what is best for this other broker, what is best for this other broker's client, that's going to shift your mindset. And that is really service, not sales.
Interesting, right? I think everybody on here knows, or those of you who are thinking about a real estate career, and for those of you who've been in the business for 4, 12 or longer years, you know that you really only get paid in this business if you have an agreement with somebody to get paid for your services. It is actually a service agreement, right? It's a contract, an employment agreement, and in there though, we generally enter into some sort of fiduciary responsibility. A fiduciary relationship with, right? And as a part of that, in an exclusive right to sell agreement, you are going to agree to put their wishes ahead of you as a part of loyalty and obedience, right? As a part of your legally bound fiduciary responsibility. I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like a huge stretch to say you should serve these people, but what do you really mean by that mindset? Like, because I know we have a legal obligation, but I think you're taking it just a little further here.
Yeah. So when I first meet with anybody, buyer or seller, I always ask the question: if I could wave a magic wand and have this be a perfect situation, what does that look like? When you take the time to truly listen to what they're saying, not making it about you, you start to realize that sometimes now might not be the best time for you to buy, or now might not be the best time for you to sell. That is by far putting my needs or their needs far over my needs. Because obviously we're in the business to make money, but if I can look at that, and that's a very high level fiduciary to say, hey, you know what, this is not the right time for you to buy. And I want to be of service to you. And that's the best opportunity for you right now. Or sometimes I'll listen to them and they'll say, their perfect scenario. And I'm like, well, that is really perfect. And that's not going to be attainable right now. Or that is attainable. And this is how we're going to do it. And helping somebody with one of the largest financial purchases of their life is huge. And you want to not take it lightly, and you want them to continue to use you for future purchases and obviously refer you.
And I love this mindset. Although I know we got a lot of people on here who are sitting in licensing class, and they're thinking about how they're going to make that sale. They're thinking about driving to the finish line, right? Because they know you don't make money in real estate unless you transit. You can have all the friends in the world you want. You can help all the people you want, but unless a transaction closes, you don't get paid. Generally.
Correct.
right? Generally, that's the rule. So that's a hard thing, right? And I think what I'm seeing from you, and which I'm really excited about you sharing, is some wisdom, which is a wisdom about like building a business, not just making a check, because I get it. You got to make a check. You got to be able to bring in money. But if you want to build a successful business, I think what you're saying is, you really have to think of yourself as serving others. You are in the
Absolutely.
service industry, and putting their needs first, I think is what I'm not putting words in your mouth, but you found to be the kind of the core of your success.
Yes.
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 So,
Because there's times I'd love to be like, yep, you should buy. Absolutely. Let's buy. And it's not in their best interest.
got it. And so, all right. So, well, then, because I think this success, and you've got 25 years. I mean, there's a curve, right? You start off, and it's hard, and hopefully by the time you get 25 years in, you're reaping the rewards. And so I love that you're sharing that the key to your success that you found, because I'm sure you've done a number of things, and you've come down to this kind of core concept. Let me ask you, how do you create and maintain? Because I think what you're talking about is like lifelong clients, a longevity in the business where you're actually reaping the rewards of your relationship and doing great service. How do you create and maintain those lifelong clients? How do you do it?
Well, my intention from the moment I meet somebody, whether they've been referred to me or they're a past client, and we come into that real estate space, I want to know what their primary goals and objectives are. And then everything that I do, I base on that. My goal is that they are going to love me and that I am going to give them
Darn it, they're
the
gonna love
best
me.
service. They're going to love me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give them the best service, and they're going to continue to want to use me, hopefully every 5 to 7 years. And more importantly, they're going to refer me to their friends and family who want the same level of service that I gave them.
And I think we're going to touch on that. I want to come back to referral, because I think you're onto something that is a key here. But representing somebody, getting them to trust you and like you. I think we all know, generally in residential real estate, people got, well, in any real estate, really in any sort of capacity where you're working for somebody else, you're representing them in some sort of an agreement, a service agreement. They have to like you and they have to trust you. I think those are the two kind of core concepts I hear over and over from guests all the time. Like you and they have to trust you. And I think a lot of people can do that. But I think the key is here is that you're saying it's extra stuff in that. Not just like, it's not just trust, but then to serve by, I think what you said was listen to them, ask them the appropriate questions, make sure you're using your upholding your fiduciary responsibilities at a minimum, but even then an ethical standard.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Well, and I think some of that comes from having the communication and the conversations up front. The only way that you can build that trust is to sit down and talk to them and truly hear what their objectives and their goals are. From there, if I'm truly listening, then I am giving them service, because I'm always having their desires and goals in mind. And does this work best for them? They might not like every answer I say, because I'm very truthful and very honest. But that's because I'm coming from that place of service to say, hey, this is the best thing for your situation. I heard you say this, and then this is what we would need to do.
Got it. I had to move forward to the microphone. I'm in a hotel. If you haven't noticed, I'm actually, look at this. I've got my Kaplan shirt on here. I'm all dressed up. We're at a conference. And so I'm in a hotel room, if you haven't realized it. And so how's this? Is my sound better? Does that sound better for everybody? Thanks, Maggie. All right. So with that, this referrals, we've talked about it a couple times. We kind of bounced around it, because I think what we're trying to do here is lay a groundwork for to say, listen, you're going to go into business. You could chase and you could negotiate and you could do all these things. But if you're not asking the right questions, if you're not listening, you're not thinking of yourself as servicing, you may do deals. I mean, I'm gonna come clean. I was that person. I thought it was about negotiating when I got into the business. I thought it was about, making a relationship, letting them like me, and then trust me, and then I go and I get the deal done. And then, I made a lot of money. But I wasn't building a successful business, and so how do you make sure that you're building a successful business, and how do you measure success for you, Jenny? I mean, how do you know you're being successful with your clients? What's the indicator to know that they really liked what you did? How do you know that?
Well, I think the biggest would be to refer you to their friends and family, because then I know that I did the job that they expected me and wanted me to do. I am a words of affirmation person from the love languages. So when people can tell me how great I am, that's fantastic. But success comes from them saying, hey, Jenny gave us the highest level of service. She is the real estate broker that you should go and work with. And even better if they walk across the room because someone's talking about real estate and they go say, hey, you've got to call Jenny. Those are raving fans. I have done my job, and that is true success.
I like it. I spent a ton of time in my early career chasing after people, and a lot of people do. There's a lot of people who built some really good businesses spending on marketing, advertising, kind of fine. Because I think when we start off, I mean, maybe some advice when I start off in the business and I've got my sphere of influence, you go through that pretty quickly for about people who are really ready to buy or not. How do you ask for a referral from a client? How does that work? That's a little scary, I think, for some people. Even me, when I was in the business for 5 years, I was 5 years. I was afraid to ask.
Yeah. It goes back again to that initial consultation. When I'm talking to my clients about what are their wants and needs and things like that, I will put in there, I not only am I going to be paid for doing my job, and I'm very good at my job, but I want to be where you are so happy with me that you will refer me to your friends and family during this transaction. And when you put that out there just as a point of conversation, then there's something called the reticular activator system, where people are always seeing things that other people are doing that they're doing. There's no better time to get a referral than while you're in the transaction. Now, if you're a brand new broker and you aren't, you don't have a transaction right now, you just need to go out and make those relationships, build those relationships, be of service. How can I help you? Hey, can I, tell you what's going on in the marketplace? Can I be the voice of knowledge, not the media, but can I be the voice of knowledge to tell you what's going on in your neighborhood? Hey, I'm going to go look at some houses. Do you want to come with me? Who doesn't love to look at real estate? What kind of relationship can I build in order to become that trusted advisor to people so then I can become their realtor?
It's an interesting concept. You talk about, I like the way you talk about wanting to be friends with the people you work with, right? And there's this little theory out there that no human being can have more than 150 real good friends. And are you thinking like every one of your clients is a real good friend, or every one of your clients is a friend that I care about, but I care about them, not only personally, but how do you attach that professional relationship? Do you keep a wall, or what do you do?
I think that every one of my clients is my friend. Not all of them are real good friends, but while I'm in the course of the relationship, and my relationships, I hope are going to be my whole entire career. So I take pretty good notes about my clients, what they like, what they don't like. If I see an article that might be something that they would be interested in, I might send it to them, a reason to call them, just like you would with your friends, where you'd be like, hey, oh my gosh, I just saw an article about, Disney, and they're not as busy.
So you do it about like Disney, or you don't just like center it all just around real estate? Like,
oh no, no. I mean, it kind of goes back to the 80-20 rule. 20% should be real estate and 80% should be personal of what, I'm building a relationship with them for life.
Wow.
And then, but I'll also say there are some of my clients where I'm like, yeah, life, nope, you and I are not lifelong.
I was going to ask, how do you fire at me?
And that's okay. That's okay. Because there's enough business for all of us. And it's okay to say, I'm not the right fit for you. And I'm, I don't need, everybody doesn't need to like me. So it's okay to be like, you would be a better fit for someone else. I would love to refer you to somebody else that would be a better fit for you.
I have a question for our listeners here, and in the chat. Because I'm going to ask a question, because if you're going to have that approach, like you said, where I want these people to be my friends. I want them to trust me. I want to be a part of it, and I want them to be a part of my life, but my business, and I can serve them their whole life. That would be awesome. But there's also a point when you get that customer, that client, where you're like, and I don't think I can do this anymore. I'm just going to ask the crowd to play along here. How many of you have ever felt the elation of firing a client? You have. Go ahead and put it into the chat. Let's just say yes at all. So some of you people who've been in the business for a while, I know you've been there. I got to tell you, yes, hell yes. So everybody's jumping on it. There is a power. I remember I remember the exact time when I said, you know what, I can't work with you anymore. And it was an interesting thing, because like you said, you want to be able, you can pick the people you want to work with in that way, right? I mean, we are bound by code of ethics, we are bound by fair housing laws, all those kinds of things. But some people are truly just, I couldn't work with. And it was liberating. It changed the way I look at my business by being able to fire a client. It's just an awful person.
And when you're brand new, that is really hard to do. So give yourself some grace when you're brand new. It's all that setting you up so that when you are further along in your career, you will be crystal clear on the clients you want to work with and those clients that you very much want to refer out. And that just takes time. That's a process. So if you're brand new and you start working with a client and you're like, oh my gosh, this is miserable. Well, take what you can and learn from that, give yourself some grace, and then say, okay, thank you for that learning experience. And now I know exactly what I don't want.
Now I know what I don't like. So let me ask you a question, because this is all kind of building towards, you've got to be engaged in your business. You've got to like, you also have to like the people you're working with in order for you to feel good. I've had it, like when you get the clients that call you like, oh, here we go again, right? And that's where firing sometimes is the best thing for your business. But that's success. And you talk about the service, and you talk about the referral, and we talk about, how did you know was there a point when you knew you were going to be successful in real estate? I mean, was there something that happened in your business when you're like, this is it, this is my life, this is where I am, and I've become successful? Did you ever find that spot?
I've had, yes, I feel like because at this point, and like I said, it's been 25 plus years, I do have 100% repeat referral business. I would say when I first started out, it was hard going to, doing open houses and farming an area and feeling like I might have felt a little bit salesy. Yeah. And when I could finally shift to say, I am service. My customer service is what I'm good at. The relationship building is what I'm good at. That shift finally was like, okay, I am successful and I can do this. And every single one of us has our own, I need to do so many transactions in order to continue, to live the life I've grown accustomed to, versus I need to do this many transactions in order to go bigger, my bigger goals. Well, if it's 5 for the year, well, then you do you, and you go and find those 5 people that you can build a relationship with. And then each year it should build on it. To get to 100% referral, that takes time. And that can take, kind of going back to our last comment, that can take working with some people where you're like, yeesh, no, thank you. Next.
You know what? I love it. Tell us, you picked out in the chat the key thing I heard in the whole thing. I loved everything you said there, Jenny, and I agree. But there's one really interesting piece in there. You said 100% of your business is coming from past client or referral. 100%.
100%.
Well, so you're not spending thousands and thousands of dollars on online platform marketing, bus benches. No.
I spend my marketing money on my relationships, my clients, and they do hear from me a lot. So they get monthly mailers, they get notes, they get postcards, they get pop buys, they get gifts, they get phone calls, birthdays. Like they're my pot of gold. They're my everything.
You spend everything internally on those people and those relationships.
That is correct.
That is powerful. If I could take, one thing away for me today is that, because I had a poll question. Everybody, you should know, I had a poll question. I was going to ask, how much of your business, if you're successful, Jenny, it comes from referrals, and I was going to have everybody guess, 20%, 40%, 60%, or over 90%. And you're saying basically any new business is coming from referrals. Otherwise, it's your repeat business.
Correct. Yep. And then if I'm not hitting my goals, and I set my goals for the year starting in, October, November, or December, I start to plan for next year. If I'm kind of midway through, we're in Q3 now. If I'm like, I'm not reaching my goals from my sphere and my database, well, I either need to make more phone calls and talk to more people, or go back to some of those fundamentals of, hey, I'm going to do an open house. I'm going to go knock doors. I'm going to do a first time home buyer class. It's not like I'm like, nope, I'm never doing that again. But I don't want to go by leads. I don't want to do any of that. I want to build relationships. And you can do that through open houses, first time home buyer classes, meetup groups. There's so many ways to build relationships.
Wow. What kind of online presence do you have? Do you have a social media page or?
I do love social media. So I will, Facebook, Instagram. I've always wanted to do TikTok, but I'm not a TikToker yet, I don't think. Maybe someday. LinkedIn, again, 80-20 rule. 20% is real estate specific, and the 80% is my life, because I like to attract people, like attracts like. So if I'm going to spend time outside of my family, then I'd like it to be people I like.
Yeah, right on. Totally understood. So let me ask just one more question. How do you continue to reassess changes like that you need to make, right? Like you said, you're thinking of TikTok. How do you do that? How do you look at where you're at? You look at how you kind of nurture and maintain your relationship. Somebody did ask a question, what else do you do other than birthdays? But how do you know when you need to change what you're doing? Are you following or are you leading?
So I am a constant learner. I absolutely love to go to classes. I love to go to conventions. Yes, shameless plug for Kaplan. I do love Kaplan. And I will take items that I've learned from those classes or conventions. One of my coaches always told me to keep my head out of the glitter, because I can have that fancy, like, I should do that. And really, I work on not doing that always. I'm not perfect. And then I'll go back and say, okay, I learned that, and I think I could implement that into my systems. I have a lot of systems in place. So it's either that wasn't working and I was consistent enough at it to know it wasn't working, so I didn't do it once and then I was done. I watched it, I analyzed it, and then it's like, that works great, and I could add this extra little bit that I learned, because it is always changing. Everything's changing, and we have to be with the times. But ultimately, service doesn't change. I'm baffled and my mind is blown when I go into stores and restaurants now, and I'm like, what in the world? Hello, why isn't anybody talking to me? And the world needs customer service more than ever.
Wow, great point. How awful is it we're trying to get customer service someplace?
Yeah.
You darn sure hope you're getting customer service if somebody's selling your house and gonna make thousands of dollars on
Yeah, and that they call you after you close.
yeah.
I do that. Crazy.
You know, we had one question. Somebody asked, I'm just starting out. How do I get clients? And I was just going to say, it's practice this. Call everybody you know and have a relationship with them. And maybe it's 20% about real estate, and 80% about you, but they have to be able to see you as an expert. And here's the thing: when you come out of real estate licensing, you're an expert about all the laws and rules and statutes. Probably, I mean, scary thing. I've been licensed 31 years, something like that. People who come out of licensing probably know the law better than people who've been in the business, as long as we have.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Because you tend to forget stuff. So you know the laws, the rules. Now what you need to do is be confident that you can go out and apply it to friendships, and gain trust, and create relationships that last a business life,
Yeah.
right? And then beyond, because I have found some of my best friends are people that I've met doing real estate and transactions.
And
Well,
be
Jenny,
honest when you don't know the answer, especially when
Oh.
you're new, to be like, that is a great question and I will find out for you.
right.
Because that's just being truthful, and that it feels
Well,
really
that's
good
about
for people
giving a
too.
real service. You don't
Yeah.
have to have all the answers, but I can go get them. Well, I tell you what, Jenny, we could go on and on and on. I wanted to thank you for being here today. I love the topic. I think everybody can admire and appreciate your approach. Played, like I said, the long game and the success and the relationships, and then the way you market and spending it on your people as opposed to maybe outside resources.
Yeah.
That is a model for a successful real estate business. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.